Yeah, hi there. We've got this Danish digital radio coming in, and I got a call from the accountant. How much was it? 150 quid? What, for a... Yeah, it's a digital, but it's just a digital radio though, right? Yeah. Ah. Ha. It's a lifestyle product. Take a look at that. Isn't she a beauty? Today I'm looking at the Kreafunk aTune DAB+, FM and Bluetooth digital radio. This is from a Danish company who class themselves as a lifestyle company, actually. They're not saying that they're specifically making audio products. They class themselves as a lifestyle company. And how can you tell? Well, firstly, this is extremely expensive. This retails at £150. Secondly, it's sold to you in a wooden box. That's a bit different, isn't it? I actually quite like it. But it just sort of reminds me of, like, if you had a pet hamster and you needed a coffin for that pet hamster, this would work quite well. So yeah, it's a wooden box. And of course, well, as a lifestyle product, as you would expect, this is beautifully designed. It really is beautiful. And they've got that right. I mean, no question, they have got that absolutely spot on. So the radio itself has an inverted LCD display on the top here, which contains, standard information about a station playing, and also some extra information as well, which I'll get onto in a moment. Then we've got all the function buttons across the top here, 6 kind of buttons just to control other aspects of the radio, and then we've got a lovely metallic, lovely gold metal volume and power and mute and standby, because this radio you hold and long press to put this onto a proper standby mode, so power off, and then you can just press it a little bit and then it keeps the clock on, keeps the display on, but just kind of mutes the radio and turns everything off. It's like a sort of semi-standby, I suppose. It's got a nice little leather strap on the right-hand side here. Not quite sure how useful it is, but it certainly looks the part. Metal gold grille across the front. This is all metal. And the outside of the radio is all sort of rubberized. It's like, feels like it could be an IP-rated radio, but it's not. And the antenna just attaches into a small little clasp on the back there. So just very neatly sort of tucked away behind the radio. So when it's sat on a shelf, if you don't need the antenna, if you're in a good signal area, it can just sit there and look really quite tidy just like that. And then, of course, we have a USB-C socket. USB-C, finally, a USB-C socket on a DAB+ radio. So let's take a quick look at the interface. The menus themselves are pretty Spartan, to be honest, but volume control, it lets you see individual kind of halfway points on the volume control, which I find quite nice. As you can hear there, I'm barely getting any reception. Normally I would get reception fine in here. Not particularly good. The setup stuff is obviously done through the setup button here, and this takes you into the main menus. You can do a full scan on DAB, you can do manual tune, you can prune stations that are not available, and then you can go into system. So if I select system, the options in system are sleep. See, it's hard to press. You've got an alarm, you can set the time and stuff, you've got backlight options, language options, and factory reset, and then it lists the software version. As far as setting the presets is concerned, it's okay. I mean, you can recall the presets just by pressing preset and then going through the list and then pressing select. So kind of 3 steps. There's no direct access to presets. If you want to store something, press and hold, and then you just choose the slot you want to store it in and press select, and that's all you need to do. So it's not massively difficult, but it's just a little bit clumsy compared to kind of nice direct access buttons, just having 4 or 5 main buttons that you press just to access your kind of core presets. Shame that isn't part of this radio, but as it just uses standard DAB software, so I really wouldn't expect it to be any different. It is a lovely design. It might not be to everybody's taste, I suppose, but it is decent. It's just nice, isn't it? It's just everything about it just looks kind of like, it looks like it's really good quality. It's got a decent sound for a small radio. It's not amazing, but it's certainly good enough. And I'll just sort of just, let's take a listen to it quickly so you can get an idea of how this sounds.
Call me when you need, call me in the morning, I'll be on the way, call me when you want.
That ability to just get up and really speak your heart when you're talking to God, that's where I learned that. And it became my home church.
It's rechargeable, so no need to buy an extra kind of 4 AA Eneloop batteries or anything like that. Rechargeable via the USB-C socket, and it does come with a USB-C power cable. And that is only a power cable, by the way. That USB-C cable does not carry data, so you can't really use it for anything other than charging, which is a little bit of a shame. The display on top, so this actually has quite a lot of extra information that you don't always get on DAB radios. So you can go into menu options and find things like that, sort of signal and whatever, but you don't always get that information permanently displayed, a little bit like a mobile phone, where you've got the signal bars and stuff. It's got that at the top. So it carries quite a lot of information, albeit fairly small, on the display all the time, which I quite like. I mean, it's nice to be able to see that just at a glance. And it does seem to have fairly fast changing of the stations. I always kind of test this in my DAB radio reviews, and this one does seem to excel in that regard. I don't know why, but it seems to change a little bit quicker than most radios. Let's have a look.
Over here.
Go. Yeah, really quick.
Who you are.
Yeah, really quick. Even between multiplexes, if I go between BBC Absolute Radio, there we go.
And people at home can
so
tell
quick.
us who looks more.
Yeah, so it just seems to shave off just a second or two compared to other radios. Overall, this, as I mentioned, it's a lifestyle product. It's massively overpriced. At £150, you could get so much more for your money if it came to, just looking at other DAB radios, if it came to just other tech in general. If you look at what you can actually buy for £150, you can get so much more. This is effectively a £50 radio that they're charging £150 for. And it does nothing more than a £50 radio. It has nothing better. It doesn't sound any better. It has no better control. There's nothing really that makes this stand out unless you like the design. The build quality looks like it's top notch. It's not, actually. It's okay, but it's a little bit plastic, and you've got this nice metal grille on the front, but it's still... It's not quite as good as you expect it to be when you see it photographed and you see it kind of, even just here in my hand, you're probably thinking, you're looking at it thinking, well, it looks really good and whatever. It's all right, but it's not brilliant. The LCD itself, this inverted LCD, is dim. It's not that clear to read. It's slow to update. It's sloppy to update. I mean, compared to other DAB radios that I've reviewed that have bright, crisp LCD displays, this one is not any good. The DAB interface really is pretty basic on this. It just looks like sort of software that's used on really cheap DAB radios. You've got the kind of station with the kind of greater than and less than sign either side. There's nothing clear and special about this at all. It just looks like stock, off-the-shelf components, off-the-shelf software, dumped in a fairly nice looking case. While I've been recording some audio from this, I've just spotted another problem. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to demonstrate this to you on camera because I've got various other kind of fans and stuff going in the room. So I'm going to try and record it onto here, and I'll play it to you now. Essentially what happens is the background of the Bluetooth has an incredibly noisy, it's a noisy stream. As soon as the audio starts playing, you get this hiss and kind of silent whine in the background on the Bluetooth side. So I'll try and demonstrate that to you now. And what I'll be playing to you is what I recorded just now on the Tascam recorder here. So let's give it a try. These buttons in the middle I mentioned earlier that they're plastic, and they kind of are a bit unresponsive. You can press them and they click nicely, but they don't always do exactly what you want. So, sometimes even though they'll click really positively, you kind of don't get a response from them. And they're just really kind of squidgy and not very nice to use. You can't press them really, really quickly. It's just awkward to press them. They're just not particularly nice as far as buttons go. They look the part, but they're plastic and they don't work that well. Reception on this, it's okay, but I've got radios that have much better reception, so I'm just going to put that down as average reception. All right, so don't expect miracles from this. I've had radios sat next to it picking up stations fine when this is doing pretty much nothing at all. So reception is average. In fact, I'd even go so far as to say average at best. Overall, the Kreafunk is a nice DAB radio in the sense that it works, it picks up stations, connecting Bluetooth is simple. That side of it works absolutely fine. It even sounds okay, but it is a very average radio. It is, as I mentioned, a £50 radio that they're charging £150 for. So unless you love this design and unless this fits perfectly in your room, and that can be a big factor, people will pay a lot for that. That's why it's a lifestyle product, and I completely understand that. If this fits with the decor of your home perfectly, that's worth £100. I mean, it might be, certainly to some people, but as far as a radio goes, if you're after something quality, you can get so much more for your money. Just look at something else. Don't even go for it. So really, I can't recommend this. I'm not a massive fan. I like how it looks, but reality, would I use a radio like this? No. There are loads better radios out there. There you go. My honest thoughts of the Kreafunk aTune DAB+ FM and Bluetooth radio.